The Providence-class Dreadnought, a staple of the Confederacy of Independent Systems fleet during the Clone Wars, was a versatile and heavily armed capital ship designed to excel in both fleet engagements and planetary bombardments. Its formidable arsenal consisted of turbo lasers, ion cannons, flak cannons, proton torpedo launchers, and tractor beam projectors, making it one of the most powerful and adaptable warships in the Separatist Navy. The 14 quad heavy turbo laser batteries served as the primary armament of the Providence-class Dreadnought, designed to engage and destroy enemy capital ships and fortified space stations. Each of these batteries featured 4 turbo laser barrels, capable of delivering concentrated bursts of energy at long range. Turbo lasers are directed energy weapons that use superheated plasma encased in magnetic fields to produce destructive energy bolts. They are powered by the ship's main reactor and are designed to fire sustained volleys, overwhelming the shields and hulls of enemy ships. These batteries were distributed evenly along the port and starboard sides of the vessel, with several placed on the dorsal and ventral surfaces to provide broad coverage in all directions. With 360-degree horizontal coverage on both sides, the turbo laser batteries allowed the Providence-class to engage enemy vessels in broadside combat, delivering devastating volleys of fire while staying mobile in the heat of battle. The turbo lasers were employed primarily in fleet engagements, where the Dreadnought would unleash broadside barrages against enemy ships. Their heavy firepower was most effective against other capital ships, breaking through their shields and armor in protracted exchanges. The 34 dual heavy laser cannons were secondary weapons designed for anti-capital ship and anti-corvette roles. Each of these cannons featured 2 barrels, allowing them to target multiple ships in rapid succession. Heavy laser cannons are similar to turbo lasers, but typically have a higher rate of fire and are used to target smaller, faster-moving ships, such as corvettes, frigates, and gunships. They also draw less power, making them easier to fire continuously. The dual heavy laser cannons were mounted across the ship's hull, primarily positioned to cover forward-facing, flank, and rear sectors to engage enemy ships at multiple angles. These weapons had broad forward and sideward arcs, allowing the ship to simultaneously engage enemies at different distances. This helped to maintain a defensive perimeter against smaller capital ships and attack craft. In battle, the dual heavy laser cannons were used to fend off escort ships and frigates trying to flank the Dreadnought. They were also used in supporting fire against larger vessels, providing sustained fire in between the turbo laser barrages. The 2 battleship ion cannons were powerful weapons designed to disable enemy ships rather than destroy them. These weapons targeted the electronic systems and shield generators of enemy vessels. Ion cannons fire ionized particles that interact with the electrical systems of their targets, overloading and disabling them without causing significant physical damage. These are ideal for disabling a ship's shields and rendering it vulnerable to follow-up attacks. The 2 battleship ion cannons were positioned on the forward dorsal section of the Providence-class Dreadnought, allowing for long-range targeting of enemy ships before closing into direct combat. With forward-facing arcs, the ion cannons were used during the initial stages of engagement, disabling enemy shields and rendering them vulnerable to the turbo lasers and laser cannons. The ion cannons were typically fired at the beginning of combat, softening up enemy capital ships by disabling their shields and critical systems. This allowed the rest of the Providence-class's weaponry to engage ships with reduced resistance. The 12 heavy flak cannons, also referred to as mass driver cannons, were dual-purpose weapons used primarily for anti-starfighter and anti-bomber defense. These weapons could also be used for bombardments. Flak cannons fired explosive shells that detonated near enemy starfighters, shredding them with shrapnel. In their mass driver configuration, the weapons could launch solid projectiles at high speeds, making them useful for ground bombardment or ship-to-ship combat. These weapons were placed along the ship's perimeter, mainly in dorsal and ventral positions to provide maximum coverage against enemy fighters and small craft. The flak cannons had a wide arc of fire, ensuring coverage in nearly every direction. Their main purpose was to protect the Providence-class from starfighter swarms that could overwhelm its larger weapons. In battle, these weapons were used to create defensive flak screens around the Dreadnought, preventing Republic fighters and bombers from getting close enough to damage the ship. They could also be used for ground bombardments when the Providence-class was engaged in planetary sieges. The 12 twin light ion cannons were lighter versions of the ion cannon, specifically designed to disable smaller ships and starfighters. Each cannon consisted of 2 barrels that could fire ionized particles at high speeds. Like the battleship ion cannons, these weapons fired ionized energy designed to disrupt the electrical systems of enemy targets. While not as powerful as their larger counterparts, they were more effective against small ships and fighters. The twin light ion cannons were placed across the hull of the Providence class, focusing on covering weak points and blind spots that might be vulnerable to enemy starfighters. These ion cannons provided close-in defense against smaller craft, allowing the Dreadnought to fend off fighters and bombers that might slip through its primary defensive screens. In combat, these weapons were used to disable enemy bombers and frigates, making them easy targets for turbo laser or laser cannon fire. They were often employed in fleet engagements where disabling enemy escort ships was a priority. The 102 proton torpedo launchers, each capable of holding 3 torpedoes, were one of the most fearsome weapons in the Providence-class arsenal. Proton torpedoes were powerful explosive devices, capable of destroying capital ships and heavily armored targets. Proton torpedoes use proton warheads encased in magnetic fields to create devastating explosions. These were highly effective against both capital ships and stationary installations. The proton torpedo launchers were primarily forward-facing, allowing the Providence class to unleash massive volleys during head-on engagements. These launchers were aligned for forward-facing attacks, used in conjunction with the Dreadnought's ion cannons to take out capital ships quickly. They had limited lateral movement but could target a wide range of enemies in front of the ship. Proton torpedoes were typically fired in massive barrages at the start of engagements, targeting enemy capital ships, space stations, or fortified planetary installations. Once shields were down, these torpedoes could penetrate and destroy enemy ships with ease. The 10 heavy tractor beam projectors were designed to immobilize or manipulate enemy ships, preventing them from escaping or maneuvering during battle. Tractor beams use gravitational manipulation to lock onto and pull or hold enemy ships in place. They could be used to prevent ships from fleeing or to drag them into firing range. These projectors were positioned around the midsection of the Providence class, ensuring they could latch onto ships attempting to escape or move out of firing range. Tractor beams had 360-degree coverage, allowing the Providence class to capture ships in nearly any direction. Tractor beams were employed to trap fleeing ships or hold them in place, while the Dreadnought's main weapons pounded them into submission. They were also used during boarding operations, holding enemy ships still while droid forces moved in. The Providence-class Dreadnought was equipped with a vast array of weapons designed for versatility, making it a formidable opponent in both large-scale fleet engagements and planetary sieges. Its combination of heavy turbo lasers, ion cannons, proton torpedoes, and anti-starfighter defenses allowed it to engage enemies at all ranges, defend itself against smaller craft, and obliterate capital ships with overwhelming firepower. The Providence-class Dreadnought of the Confederacy of Independent Systems was designed with a robust and advanced propulsion and power system, ensuring it could perform at optimal efficiency in both space and atmospheric environments. Its combination of sublight ion engines, hyperdrive systems, and energy reactors allowed it to participate in prolonged engagements and hyperspace travel while maintaining excellent maneuverability for a ship of its size. The Providence-class Dreadnought was equipped with 3 Creveled 4 radial ion drives, which provided its main thrust in sublight operations. These were high-efficiency ion engines, designed to generate significant thrust by ionizing particles and expelling them through nozzles, thus creating momentum that pushed the ship forward. Ion engines work by stripping electrons from atoms, creating plasma, which is then expelled at high speeds to produce thrust. The Creveled 4 engines provided exceptional thrust while balancing fuel efficiency, making them ideal for extended space operations. The ship had a maximum acceleration of 2,500 g, which allowed it to maneuver quickly and effectively during space engagements, even at sublight speeds. This acceleration made the Dreadnought capable of quickly entering or exiting combat zones. The Providence class had a rated speed of 70 megakelvin light-years per hour, an important measure of starfighter-grade speeds within Star Wars. For a capital ship, this represented a strong balance between speed and durability, enabling it to keep pace with fleet movements or perform tactical maneuvers as necessary. Despite its large size, the Providence-class Dreadnought was moderately agile in space thanks to its sublight ion engines and inertial compensators. While it couldn't match the speed or maneuverability of smaller ships like cruisers or frigates, its engines gave it the flexibility to engage in fleet maneuvers and adjust its trajectory to keep its powerful broadside weapons trained on enemy ships. The Providence-class Dreadnought was equipped with a Class 1.5 hyperdrive, providing it with a relatively fast hyperspace capability for a warship of its size. In addition to the primary hyperdrive, the ship also had a Class 10 backup hyperdrive to ensure it could retreat or travel even if the primary hyperdrive failed during battle. The Class 1.5 rating placed the Providence-class among the faster ships in the galaxy, able to travel between star systems at a respectable pace. This allowed the Dreadnought to quickly move between battlefronts, making it a flexible asset in the Separatist fleet. The backup hyperdrive was significantly slower, designed primarily for emergencies. In the event that the primary hyperdrive was damaged or disabled, the Class 10 system could be activated to escape from dangerous situations, albeit at a slower speed. The power plant of the Providence-class Dreadnought was centered around a series of high-output fusion reactors, which provided the massive energy needed to power not only the ship's engines and hyperdrive, but also its weapons systems, shields, and various onboard systems. These reactors worked by fusing light atomic nuclei together to release massive amounts of energy. The Providence-class's fusion reactors were efficient and allowed the ship to operate for long periods without needing to refuel, an essential feature for a warship engaged in prolonged campaigns. Energy from the reactors was distributed through an extensive power grid that connected all major systems, including weapons, shields, engines, and life support. The reactor core had built-in redundancies to ensure that if one reactor failed, the others could continue to provide necessary power. Given the immense power generated by its fusion reactors and the energy required for its engines and weapons, the Dreadnought featured advanced cooling systems designed to dissipate excess heat, preventing overheating and potential system failures. Heat was expelled through radiator fins and venting systems, ensuring that the ship's critical systems could function continuously without risk of overheating during intense combat or long voyages. Repulsor lift systems enabled the ship to maintain its position and altitude when operating in a planet's atmosphere or in close proximity to large objects using anti-gravity technology to counter the pull of gravity. To counteract the immense G-forces experienced during rapid acceleration and maneuvering, the Dreadnought was equipped with powerful inertial compensators. These systems helped ensure that both biological and droid crew members could operate under extreme conditions without suffering the effects of rapid acceleration or deceleration. The Providence-class Dreadnought was also outfitted with gravity correctors to ensure a stable internal gravity environment. This system was crucial for maintaining standard gravity throughout the ship, ensuring comfortable working conditions for the crew, regardless of the ship's velocity or orientation in space. Despite being a large capital ship, the Providence-class Dreadnought was capable of operating within planetary atmospheres. Its maximum atmospheric speed was 2,000 kilometers per hour, a significant velocity for a ship of its mass. This enabled the Dreadnought to perform orbital bombardments or provide air support during invasions, though extended atmospheric operations were not ideal due to the ship's size and complexity. The ship's engines allowed it to descend into the upper atmosphere of planets for orbital bombardments or other tactical operations. However, because of its bulk and power, atmospheric entry would be risky and energy-consuming, and the ship would generally avoid long-term operations within a planetary atmosphere unless absolutely necessary. The Providence-class Dreadnought was a formidable warship equipped with powerful and efficient Creveled 4 radial ion engines, a Class 1.5 hyperdrive, and advanced fusion reactors to ensure sustained power and performance. Its combination of sublight speed, moderate maneuverability, and hyperspace capability made it a versatile asset in both fleet battles and independent operations. The ship's complex systems, including repulsor lifts, inertial compensators, and gravity correctors, ensured smooth operations in both space and atmospheric environments, while its robust cooling systems and energy distribution networks supported the immense power demands of its weapons and shields. The Providence-class Dreadnought, designed by the Confederacy of Independent Systems, was a large capital ship engineered for a variety of roles, including space combat, troop transport, and planetary assaults. With a massive crew complement, a formidable air group, and the ability to transport vast numbers of troops, vehicles, and battle droids, It played a crucial role in separatist naval operations during the Clone Wars. The Providence-class Dreadnought had a crew complement of 900 officers, droids, and enlisted personnel. These individuals were responsible for operating the ship's various systems, such as navigation, weaponry, engineering, life support, and communications. Additionally, the ship carried an immense number of passengers and droids, enabling it to serve as both a battleship and a troop transport. In an emergency or during less demanding operations, the ship could be operated by a minimum of 30 crew members, primarily relying on droids and automation to manage basic systems like engines, navigation, and weapons. The ship was designed to carry up to 48,247 passengers, including military personnel, support staff, and various technicians, along with a staggering 1.5 million deactivated battle droids, which could be deployed during planetary invasions or large-scale combat operations. Given the large number of biological crew members aboard the Providence-class Dreadnought, the ship featured extensive living quarters, ranging from basic barracks-style accommodations for enlisted personnel to more spacious cabins for officers and command staff. Senior officers and key personnel were provided with more comfortable private cabins located in secure areas of the ship, near critical command centers like the Bridge and Combat Information Center. These cabins offered better amenities and privacy compared to those for enlisted crew. The majority of the biological crew were housed in shared quarters or bunk rooms, typically located deeper within the ship's hull for added protection. These barracks were functional but cramped, offering little in the way of personal space, as is typical for military starships. The crew also had access to various mess halls, recreation areas, and exercise facilities that ensured they could maintain morale and physical fitness during long deployments. Droids on board were housed in designated storage or recharging areas, requiring less space and maintenance compared to the biological crew. The captain's bridge, located at the forward section of the Providence class, served as the primary command center for the ship. It was equipped with advanced command and control systems, enabling the ship's commanding officer and senior staff to coordinate fleet actions, navigate through hyperspace, and control the Dreadnaught's extensive weaponry. The bridge was designed with tactical displays, holographic projectors, and communications consoles that linked the ship's systems to the larger fleet. From here, the captain could direct the ship's movements and weapons during combat, issue orders to the crew, and manage the air group. Below the bridge was the Combat Information Center, a secondary command post where key officers monitored battle data, sensor readings, and communications from across the battlefield. In the event of an attack on the bridge, the CIC could take over command functions. Throughout the ship, key combat posts were manned by trained crew members and droids, responsible for operating the ship's weapon systems, shields, and damage control systems. These stations were distributed across the vessel to ensure continuous operations even if parts of the ship were damaged. The Providence-class Dreadnought carried a formidable air group consisting of 240 starfighters. These starfighters played a vital role in providing defense against enemy ships, engaging in dogfights, and supporting planetary invasions. The air group was composed primarily of droid starfighters, making it highly efficient and cost-effective for the separatist war machine. These agile and heavily automated starfighters served as the backbone of the Providence-class's starfighter defense. They were designed for fast and efficient swarming tactics, overwhelming enemy fighters with sheer numbers. The droid tri-fighter was a more advanced and heavily armed model, used for both anti-fighter engagements and attacks against capital ships. Equipped with advanced targeting systems and high-speed thrusters, they excelled at intercepting enemy bombers and capital ship escorts. The ship's main hangar housed the starfighters, which were stored in automated racks for quick launch. Droid starfighters required minimal preparation or maintenance between missions, allowing for rapid turnaround times. During combat, the hangar could launch large numbers of starfighters in quick succession, creating an overwhelming wave of attackers. The Providence-class Dreadnought was equipped to carry large numbers of troops, vehicles, and landing craft, making it an ideal platform for launching planetary invasions. It could deploy both organic troops and droid armies for land-based operations. The ship could carry over 100 armored vehicles, including tanks and walkers, as well as landing craft and shuttles to transport troops and equipment from the ship to the planet's surface. The Providence-class was fitted with multiple hangars and docking bays, where it stored landing craft and assault shuttles used to deploy troops and vehicles. These landing craft were capable of ferrying troops and equipment directly into combat zones during planetary assaults. The main hangar of the Providence-class Dreadnought was a vast, multi-level structure capable of housing not only the ship's starfighter complement, but also its landing craft, shuttles, and assault boats. The hangar played a crucial role in the ship's ability to launch and recover fighters, deploy landing forces, and conduct boarding operations. The hangar was designed with multiple access points, allowing for efficient deployment and retrieval of fighters and landing craft. It was fitted with tractor beams and guidance systems to facilitate the smooth docking and departure of vessels, ensuring that large numbers of craft could be launched or recovered in quick succession. In the event of an emergency, the Dreadnought was equipped with a large number of escape pods distributed throughout the ship. These pods were designed to carry the biological crew and any essential personnel away from the ship if it suffered catastrophic damage. One of the most striking features of the Providence-class Dreadnought was its ability to carry up to 1.5 million deactivated battle droids. These droids, primarily B-1 and B-2 battle droids, were stored in cargo bays and droid racks deep within the ship's hull. The droids were stored in compact and secure containers, requiring minimal space when deactivated. When needed, the ship's crew could activate and deploy the droids using automated systems, sending them to the surface of a planet for large-scale ground operations. During planetary invasions, the Providence-class could deploy thousands of battle droids at a time, overwhelming enemy ground forces with sheer numbers. These droids, combined with the ship's landing forces, made the Dreadnought a key asset in the Confederacy's planetary conquest strategy. The Providence-class Dreadnought was designed as a highly versatile warship, capable of performing a wide variety of combat roles. With a crew of 900 biological personnel and droids, as well as the ability to transport 240 starfighters, more than 100 armored vehicles, and 1.5 million battle droids. It was equipped to serve in both space battles and planetary invasions. Its extensive hangars, landing bays, and large-scale troop transport capabilities made it a powerful asset in the Separatist fleet, enabling it to project military power across the galaxy during the Clone Wars. The Providence-class Dreadnought had a significant presence on the battlefield, measuring approximately 1,088 meters in length, with larger variants extending up to 2,177.35 meters. The ship's elongated and triangular silhouette contributed to its distinct appearance, characterized by its sharp lines and angular features that projected a sense of menace and technological prowess. The ship featured a sleek, aerodynamic design that facilitated maneuverability in both space and atmospheric environments. The forward section of the vessel tapered to a pointed bow, while the hull widened towards the rear, accommodating the ship's engines and hangar facilities. The overall shape optimized the Dreadnought's profile for combat operations, allowing it to present a reduced target area to enemy fire. The hull of the Providence-class was constructed from reinforced durasteel plating, providing a robust exterior to withstand the rigors of space combat. The hull was designed to be both aerodynamic and structurally sound, featuring various compartments and support structures that ensured the ship's integrity during intense engagements. Internally, the Dreadnought was equipped with advanced load-bearing structures designed to distribute stress evenly across the hull. This construction allowed the ship to endure significant impacts while maintaining operational functionality, particularly during heavy combat or when sustaining damage from enemy fire. The armor plating of the Providence-class Dreadnought was a crucial element of its defensive capabilities. The ship's hull was lined with layered armor that provided protection against a variety of threats, including energy blasts and projectile weapons. The armor was a composite of durasteel, titanium, and advanced energy-absorbing materials, designed to deflect or absorb the energy from incoming attacks. The use of layered plating enhanced the vessel's survivability, allowing it to sustain damage while still remaining operational. To augment the physical armor, the Providence-class was equipped with powerful deflector shields. These energy shields created a protective barrier around the ship, absorbing or deflecting energy-based attacks and projectiles. The shields were designed to be highly resistant to overload, allowing the Dreadnought to withstand prolonged engagements without compromising its structural integrity. In addition to standard deflector shields, The Providence-class Dreadnought utilized corpuscular shields. These specialized shields were designed to protect against high-velocity projectiles and physical attacks, such as those from turbo lasers or missile systems. The corpuscular shields created an additional layer of defense, ensuring that the ship remained protected against various forms of assault. This feature made the Dreadnought particularly resilient in combat, allowing it to engage in direct confrontations with enemy capital ships and ground forces. The internal layout of the Providence class was designed for efficiency and functionality, accommodating the ship's crew, equipment, and supplies necessary for long-term operations. The Dreadnought boasted a cargo capacity of 29,000 tons, enabling it to transport substantial quantities of supplies, ammunition, and vehicles. The cargo holds were strategically placed throughout the ship, ensuring that the weight was evenly distributed and did not compromise stability or maneuverability. The ship was equipped with sufficient consumables to support a crew for up to 1 year without resupply. This capability was critical for prolonged deployments in hostile environments, allowing the Providence class to operate independently for extended periods. The ship featured an advanced life support system that ensured a breathable atmosphere and regulated temperature and humidity levels throughout the various compartments. This system was vital for maintaining the well-being of the crew, especially during long missions. The living quarters were designed to accommodate the biological crew comfortably, providing essential amenities for rest and recuperation. The areas included recreation spaces and mess halls to support crew morale and maintain operational efficiency. The Providence class was equipped with advanced sensor arrays and communication systems that allowed it to gather intelligence, navigate through complex battlefields, and communicate with other ships in the fleet. The sensor systems included long-range scanners, targeting systems, and telemetry devices capable of detecting enemy ships, incoming projectiles, and other vital tactical data. These systems were essential for the ship's tactical operations, providing real-time information to the captain and crew. The ship featured a robust communications array, facilitating secure communications with command centers and other vessels. This capability ensured that the Dreadnought could maintain situational awareness and coordinate effectively during combat operations. The Providence-class Dreadnought was a sophisticated and powerful capital ship that embodied the technological prowess of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. With its formidable dimensions, unique design, extensive internal compartments, and advanced systems, it served as a crucial asset during the Clone Wars. The ship's combination of heavy armament, troop transport capabilities, and advanced defensive systems made it a formidable presence on the battlefield, contributing significantly to the Separatist war effort. The Providence-class Dreadnought, a crucial asset for the Confederacy of Independent Systems during the Clone Wars, was manufactured using advanced shipbuilding techniques that emphasized modularity, efficiency, and scalability. This text explores the construction processes, timing, logistics, and costs associated with the Dreadnought's production, as well as a comparison between the standard and larger versions of the vessel. The Providence class was primarily manufactured by Rendili Stardrive, known for its innovative designs and expertise in constructing large capital ships. The Dreadnought's original design was adapted by the Free DAC Volunteers Engineering Corps, which played a vital role in refining the specifications to meet the Confederacy's needs. Additionally, Pamet Docks was responsible for the construction of various dreadnoughts, utilizing its advanced facilities to meet the increasing demand for Separatist warships. These manufacturers operated large-scale shipyards, capable of constructing multiple vessels simultaneously. The shipyards were equipped with advanced construction technologies, allowing for efficient assembly and integration of complex systems. The construction of a Providence-class Dreadnought involved a carefully planned timeline, allowing for efficient use of resources and labor. Each ship could take several months to complete, depending on the size and specifications. One of the key features of the Providence-class design was its modularity. The ship was constructed in sections, or modules, that could be assembled independently. This approach streamlined the construction process, enabling multiple teams to work simultaneously on different sections. The modular design also facilitated repairs and upgrades, allowing components to be easily replaced or enhanced. The logistics involved in building the Providence class were complex, requiring the coordination of various materials, components, and skilled labor. Resources such as durasteel, titanium, and advanced electronic systems were sourced from various locations across the galaxy. Efficient supply chains were established to ensure timely delivery of materials to the shipyards. The separation of material sourcing helped mitigate the risks associated with shortages or delays, particularly during the height of the Clone Wars. The logistics also included the transportation of completed modules from assembly facilities to the final assembly sites. Large transport ships were employed to move components across vast distances, ensuring that all parts arrived in pristine condition. The assembly of the Providence-class Dreadnought involved several stages, from initial construction to final outfitting and testing. Modules were constructed separately before being transported to a central assembly point. Skilled technicians utilized advanced tools and machinery to integrate the components, ensuring that all systems were compatible and functional. Once the core structure was assembled, the Dreadnought underwent final outfitting. This included the installation of weapon systems, engines, and defensive measures, along with thorough testing to ensure that the vessel met all operational specifications. The cost of constructing a Providence-class Dreadnought varied based on its specifications and features. The standard version of the Dreadnought, measuring 1,088 meters, had a construction cost of approximately 125 million credits. This cost reflected the basic armament, systems, and structural components required for the ship's operation. The expanded version, measuring 2,177.35 meters, significantly increased the complexity and capabilities of the ship, with a construction cost of around 400,585,000 credits. This higher price point accounted for enhanced armament, larger troop capacities, and more advanced systems, reflecting the greater investment in resources and technology needed to produce the larger vessel. The differences between the standard and larger variants of the Providence-class Dreadnought extended beyond mere size. The standard variant, at 1,088 meters, was formidable, but limited in its capabilities compared to the larger variant. The increase to 2,177.35 meters allowed for expanded cargo holds, additional weaponry, and increased troop transport capacity. The standard version typically served as a frontline combat ship, focusing on its firepower and defensive capabilities. In contrast, the larger variant was designed to fulfill multiple roles, including heavy bombardment, troop transport, and command ship functions. This flexibility made the larger version invaluable during major military engagements. The enhanced capabilities of the larger variant enabled the Confederacy to field a more diverse fleet, capable of addressing various tactical situations on the battlefield. This strategic flexibility was crucial in responding to the dynamic nature of the Clone Wars. The construction of the Providence-class Dreadnought involved a complex interplay of advanced manufacturing techniques, efficient logistics, and careful financial planning. With its modular design and the capabilities of key manufacturers like Rendili Stardrive and Pament Docks, the Dreadnought became a symbol of the Confederacy of Independent Systems' industrial might. The comparison between the standard and larger versions highlights the importance of size and capacity in shaping the Dreadnought's role within the Separatist fleet, ensuring its prominence in the galaxy's turbulent landscape during the Clone Wars. The Providence-class Dreadnought stands as a testament to the ambitions and strategic necessities of the Confederacy of Independent Systems during the tumultuous period leading up to and throughout the Clone Wars. Understanding the context of its creation requires an exploration of the political, military, and economic landscape of the galaxy at that time. The Confederacy of Independent Systems was established as a coalition of various planets and organizations that sought to break away from the control of the Galactic Republic. Growing discontent among numerous systems arose due to perceived bureaucratic inefficiency, overregulation, and a lack of representation within the Galactic Senate. The Trade Federation, along with several other influential corporate entities, led the charge for independence, forming a coalition that would eventually evolve into the CIS. The emergence of powerful trade organizations, such as the Trade Federation and the Techno-Union, was instrumental in the formation of the Confederacy. These corporations, which had amassed significant wealth and military resources, aimed to protect their interests against what they viewed as oppressive taxation and regulation imposed by the Republic. Led by prominent figures like Count Dooku, the separatist movement rallied various systems under the banner of independence. This included not only disaffected worlds but also factions such as the Confederacy of Independent Systems. which included droid armies and a myriad of star systems seeking autonomy. Before the full-scale onset of the Clone Wars, the Confederacy relied on a patchwork fleet composed of older ships and newly commissioned vessels. The CIS fleet included a variety of vessels, such as C-9779 landing ships, Lucrehulk-class battleships, and modified transports. However, these ships were often outdated and insufficient to compete with the Galactic Republic's formidable navy, which included the Venator-class star destroyers. The Confederacy focused on developing advanced warships and technologies. This included integrating droid crews into various ship designs, leading to the creation of highly automated vessels capable of efficient and relentless combat operations. The reliance on droid forces not only reduced costs, but also allowed for the rapid expansion of military capabilities. As tensions escalated, the Confederacy recognized the need for a more formidable military presence to counter the Republic's growing strength. The CIS leadership understood that a well-armed fleet was essential for waging war effectively. This led to the investment in new ship designs that could serve multiple purposes, including heavy bombardment, troop transport, and command and control functions. The development of the Providence-class Dreadnought was central to this strategy, providing a versatile platform capable of engaging in sustained combat, while also supporting ground operations. As the political climate deteriorated, the need for a heavy warship that could withstand prolonged engagements became apparent. The Providence-class Dreadnought was conceived as a solution to this demand, offering advanced weaponry and enhanced durability compared to existing vessels. The Dreadnought was intended to serve as a capital ship with significant firepower, able to engage enemy fleets and fortifications. The combination of turbo lasers, ion cannons, and missile launchers made it a formidable opponent on the battlefield. Its reinforced hull and deflector shields were designed to withstand heavy assaults, ensuring its role as a frontline combat vessel. In addition to its combat capabilities, the Providence class was designed to transport large numbers of troops and vehicles. With the ability to carry droid armies and various ground forces, the Dreadnought facilitated rapid deployments in strategic locations. This capability was crucial for maintaining the momentum of military campaigns and sustaining operations on multiple fronts. The modular design of the Dreadnought allowed for easier construction and the integration of new technologies as they became available. This adaptability meant that the CIS could respond to changing battlefield conditions and incorporate upgrades to keep pace with advancements in military technology. The development of the Providence-class Dreadnought was driven by the need for a more powerful and versatile warship to support the Confederacy's military objectives. With the Galactic Republic fielding a formidable navy, including the powerful Venator-class star destroyers, the Confederacy recognized that to succeed, it needed a warship that could match or exceed the Republic's capabilities. The Providence-class Dreadnought was designed to fill this gap, providing the CIS with a credible naval force. The Dreadnought's ability to carry substantial numbers of troops and equipment made it invaluable for large-scale military operations. As the Clone Wars progressed, the CIS frequently engaged in planetary invasions and sieges, and the Providence class provided the logistical support necessary for these campaigns. Beyond its military applications, the Providence-class Dreadnought also served as a symbol of the Separatist movement's strength and resolve. Its imposing presence in the galaxy signified the CIS's commitment to its cause, instilling fear in its enemies and rallying support among its allies. The creation of the Providence-class Dreadnought was a pivotal development in the military buildup of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Emerging from the discontent with the Galactic Republic and fueled by the ambitions of powerful corporate entities, the Dreadnought represented a strategic response to the challenges of the impending Clone Wars. With its advanced design, formidable firepower, and versatility, the Providence class would become a cornerstone of the Separatist fleet, fundamentally shaping the course of the conflict and the fate of the galaxy. One of the earliest significant appearances of the Providence-class Dreadnought was during the Battle of Christophsis, which occurred in year 22 before Battle of Yavin. The planet Christophsis was a key target for the Confederacy due to its strategic location along the Corellian Run and its resource-rich environment. General Horm Loathsome and the Sith assassin Asajj Ventress led the surface invasion, while Admiral Trench commanded the space blockade from his flagship, a Providence-class Dreadnought named the Invincible. The Confederacy established a formidable blockade around Christophsis, comprising over 30 ships, including Lucrehulk-class battleships and Munificent-class star frigates. Trench's Invincible was pivotal in keeping Republic forces at bay. The Republic responded by dispatching a fleet led by Jedi General Anakin Skywalker, who commanded 3 Venator-class star destroyers. The space engagement that followed would become one of the most iconic naval battles of the Clone Wars. As the battle commenced, Trench demonstrated the sheer power of the Invincible, separating the Republic frigates from their Venator-class counterparts through a barrage of turbo-laser fire. Skywalker's fleet was under immense pressure as the Invincible relentlessly advanced, making use of its superior firepower and tactical prowess. The situation grew dire for the Republic forces until Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi arrived and devised a plan for Skywalker to evade the blockade. Despite the immense pressure placed on Skywalker's fleet, the Republic was able to turn the tide of battle. Skywalker, utilizing a prototype stealth ship, managed to bypass the Invincible's defenses. The Invincible relied on its thermal shields to repel incoming attacks, but Skywalker exploited a weakness by drawing the ship's tracking torpedoes back toward its unshielded command bridge. The destruction of the Invincible shifted the momentum in favor of the Republic, forcing the Separatist blockade into disarray and allowing the Republic forces to break through and deliver relief to Christophsis. Following the Battle of Christophsis, Providence-class Dreadnoughts continued to play a critical role in numerous battles across the galaxy. Their strategic value was recognized, and they were often seen leading fleets in key engagements, such as the Battle of Felucia, Battle of Camino, Battle of Umbara, and the Outer Rim sieges. The Battle of Felucia was significant for the Republic's defeat, as the Confederacy successfully captured the planet and gained access to the Perlemian trade route. During the battle, a Providence-class Dreadnought led a Separatist fleet, which launched a devastating attack on Felucia Medical Station HCTFF-2, a Haven-class medical station in orbit. The destruction of the medical station left Republic forces in the region vulnerable and underscored the Dreadnought's capabilities in orbital bombardment and large-scale fleet engagements. The Battle of Camino saw another prominent deployment of Providence-class Dreadnoughts under the command of General Grievous and Asajj Ventress. The Confederacy sought to destroy the Republic's cloning facilities on Camino, a vital asset in the production of clone troopers. The Providence-class flagship led a fleet of Munificent-class frigates and Recusant-class destroyers during the battle. While the Republic intercepted Separatist communications and was able to mount a defense, the Dreadnoughts played a key role in the offensive. Grievous, aboard his flagship, coordinated the invasion with ruthless efficiency. The space battle raged as Republic forces, led by the Jedi, fought to repel the Separatist fleet. Although the Republic successfully defended Camino, the battle demonstrated the tactical importance of Providence-class Dreadnoughts in large-scale invasions and how the Separatists relied on their carrier and destroyer capabilities to launch both space and ground assaults. Another pivotal moment in the Clone Wars involving the Providence-class Dreadnoughts was during the Battle of Umbara. The Umbaran government aligned itself with the Confederacy, and the Separatists established a blockade around the planet, led by Providence-class Dreadnoughts. The planet's strategic location and military importance made it a vital target for the Republic, and a prolonged and bloody ground war ensued as the Republic forces fought to reclaim it. In orbit, the Separatist Dreadnoughts, along with their escorts, provided critical support for the planetary invasion. The blockade made it exceedingly difficult for Republic forces to resupply or reinforce their troops on the ground. In the space battle, the Providence-class ships coordinated the defense of Separatist supply vessels, ensuring that the flow of resources to the Umbaran forces was uninterrupted. This battle highlighted how the Providence-class ships were not only used in offensive operations, but were also key in maintaining sieges and blockades, drawing out Republic forces into protracted engagements. Providence-class Dreadnoughts became the chosen flagships for many high-profile Separatist commanders, including General Grievous, Admiral Trench, and Count Dooku. These ships served as mobile command centers, where strategic decisions were made that impacted the larger scope of the war. Perhaps the most famous Providence-class Dreadnought was General Grievous's flagship, the Invisible Hand, which played a central role in the Battle of Coruscant in year 19 before Battle of Yavin. This climactic battle near the end of the Clone Wars saw the Separatists launch a daring assault on the Republic's capital in the Core Worlds. The Invisible Hand led the assault, commanding a fleet of over 1,000 separatist ships that included Lucre-Hulk-class battleships, Recusant-class destroyers, and Munificent-class frigates. Grievous, aboard the Invisible Hand, successfully captured Supreme Chancellor Palpatine as part of Darth Sidious' plan to push Anakin Skywalker further toward the dark side. Despite the surprise attack, Republic forces, led by Jedi Generals Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, mounted a counterattack. The Jedi infiltrated the Invisible Hand in a desperate mission to rescue the Chancellor. The battle aboard the Invisible Hand was intense, with Kenobi and Skywalker battling through droid forces, defeating Count Dooku, and eventually rescuing Palpatine. However, the ship itself sustained heavy damage in a broadside battle with a Republic Venator-class Star Destroyer. Despite Grievous's attempts to maintain control, the Dreadnought was critically damaged, splitting in half as it plummeted toward Coruscant. Although Grievous escaped, the destruction of the Invisible Hand marked a turning point in the war, signaling the Republic's growing dominance. The Providence-class Dreadnoughts became emblematic of the Confederacy's military might during the Clone Wars. These versatile warships could serve as both carriers and destroyers, playing key roles in blockade enforcement, planetary invasions, and large-scale space battles. Their presence on the battlefield often indicated that the Separatists were making a significant push to control critical systems. However, despite their tactical and strategic advantages, Providence-class Dreadnoughts were not invincible. As the Republic improved its naval tactics and technology, the Dreadnoughts became increasingly vulnerable, especially when faced with Jedi-led fleets. Their eventual decline mirrored the waning power of the Confederacy in the later stages of the Clone Wars. By the time of the war's conclusion, the Republic had developed effective countermeasures to the Separatist tactics, leading to the eventual downfall of the Confederacy. The destruction of key Providence-class ships, such as the Invisible Hand, symbolized the inevitable collapse of the Separatist cause. In the years that followed the Clone Wars, many of the surviving Providence-class Dreadnoughts were either decommissioned, scrapped, or repurposed. However, their legacy persisted, particularly in the Outer Rim, where former Separatist warlords used these ships to defend their territories during the rise of the Galactic Empire. The Providence-class Dreadnoughts are remembered as one of the most formidable warships of the Clone Wars era, representing both the strength and the ultimate failure of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. The Providence-class Dreadnought, initially crafted as a symbol of the Confederacy of Independent Systems during the Clone Wars, underwent a significant transformation in its role and significance following the war. As the galaxy transitioned through the eras of the Galactic Empire, the New Republic, and the First Order, the fate of the Providence-class ships reflected broader shifts in power, technology, and military strategy. With the conclusion of the Clone Wars and the rise of the Galactic Empire under Emperor Palpatine, the fate of the Confederacy's warships, including the Providence-class Dreadnoughts, changed dramatically. Following the Clone Wars, many surviving Providence-class Dreadnoughts were decommissioned and scrapped as the Empire sought to consolidate its military forces around new, more standardized designs. However, some of these ships were repurposed or mothballed, as their robust designs and capabilities remained valuable. A limited number of Providence-class Dreadnoughts were retained for use by the Empire, primarily as training vessels or for logistical support. Their substantial cargo capacities made them suitable for transporting supplies and personnel, albeit in a diminished capacity compared to their original military roles. Over time, the original designs of the Providence-class Dreadnoughts became increasingly obsolete as the Empire developed more advanced capital ships, such as the Imperial-class Star Destroyers. This shift rendered many older vessels, including the Providence class, less effective in modern naval warfare. Following the fall of the Galactic Empire, the galaxy entered a new phase with the establishment of the New Republic. Some surviving Providence-class Dreadnoughts were reclaimed by factions sympathetic to the New Republic. These ships were often restored and modified, integrating newer technologies and systems to enhance their combat effectiveness. A few refurbished Providence-class ships found their place within the New Republic Navy, where they served as patrol vessels and logistical support ships. They operated primarily in the Outer Rim territories, assisting in efforts to maintain order and provide security in the wake of the Empire's collapse. For many, the Providence-class Dreadnoughts became symbols of the struggle against tyranny and the fight for freedom. Their legacy as vessels of the separatist movement was recontextualized within the broader narrative of the New Republic's efforts to restore democracy to the galaxy. As the galaxy faced the resurgence of the First Order, the relevance of the Providence-class Dreadnought, the First Order, focused on developing advanced starships, including the Finalizer-class star destroyers and other state-of-the-art vessels. As a result, the older Providence-class ships were often viewed as outdated and ill-suited for the challenges posed by the First Order's formidable fleet. Many Providence-class dreadnoughts that remained in circulation were either scavenged for parts or retrofitted by independent factions and mercenaries seeking to utilize whatever resources they could muster against the First Order. Some of these ships continued to operate as independent warships or cargo vessels, serving as reminders of a bygone era. Certain factions within the galaxy, including remnants of the Rebel Alliance, recognized the potential of the Providence-class ships and sought to harness their capabilities. However, the effectiveness of these ships in the face of advanced First Order technology was often questionable. The legacy of the Providence-class dreadnoughts endured long after their active service during the Clone Wars. The design principles of the Providence class, with its modular structure and focus on multi-role capabilities, influenced the development of future warships across various factions. Elements of its design were echoed in subsequent classes of starships that sought to balance firepower, cargo capacity, and adaptability. The narrative surrounding the Providence-class dreadnoughts became intertwined with the broader themes of conflict and resistance in the Star Wars saga. Their history reflected the complexities of war, ideology, and the ongoing struggle for power in the galaxy. As the galaxy continued to evolve, the remnants of the Providence-class dreadnoughts served as historical artifacts. Many of these ships became points of interest for historians and collectors, symbolizing the dynamic and often tumultuous nature of galactic history. The Providence-class Dreadnought transitioned from a prominent symbol of the Confederacy of Independent Systems during the Clone Wars to a relic of a bygone era in the post-war galaxy. Its journey through the eras of the Galactic Empire, New Republic, and First Order reflects the changing tides of power and the enduring legacy of starship design and warfare in the Star Wars universe. While many Providence-class ships were ultimately rendered obsolete, their impact on galactic history and culture continues to resonate within the broader narrative of the Star Wars saga.